Raise your hand if you've ever felt that sudden pinch in your chest when your phone rings with an unknown number, or that queasy drop when someone says we need to talk, or that weird, inexplicable urge to check your door is locked a third time before you can fall asleep. Yeah, same. You probably call it anxiety, overthinking, being too sensitive. You're wrong. That feeling isn't a bug. It's a feature. It's a survival instinct so old, so deeply embedded in your nervous system, that you don't even register it as a survival instinct anymore. You just feel it, and then you try to talk yourself out of it. And that never works. Here's the truth. Your brain is running software written 200,000 years ago, back when the biggest threat to your existence wasn't a passive-aggressive email or late mortgage payment. It was a predator in the tall grass, a rival tribe at the edge of your territory, a snake you didn't see until your foot was already coming down. Your ancestors who felt that twitch of unease survived. The ones who didn't, they became dinner. That twitch got passed down. Generations of it, laid over by civilization. Yes, but never removed. It's still there, sitting in your amygdala, firing off warnings whether you need them or not. The instinct I'm talking about is called the Behavioral Inhibition System. It's one of the most studied mechanisms in neuroscience. It's the part of your brain that scans for novelty, uncertainty, and potential threat. And when it finds one, or thinks it finds one, it hits the brakes. It stops you cold. It makes you hesitate. It tells you to wait, to gather more information, to not make a move until you're absolutely sure. That system kept your great-great-great-grandparents alive. It made them cautious when they heard a rustle in the bush. It made them wait before eating an unfamiliar berry. It made them double-check the sky for storm clouds before venturing too far from shelter. But here's the problem. That system doesn't know the difference between a lion and a LinkedIn notification. It doesn't distinguish between a dangerous stranger and a friendly colleague with a question. It treats your inbox the same way it treated a predator's growl. It floods your system with cortisol. It speeds up your heart. It narrows your field of vision. It primes you to freeze, flee, or fight, all before your conscious brain has even registered what's happening. And then you sit there, feeling terrible, telling yourself you're overreacting. You're not. You're reacting exactly as designed. The design is just out of date. It's software patched for a world that no longer exists, running on hardware that can't be replaced. You can't turn off the instinct. You can only learn to recognize it for what it is, and stop letting it stay. This is where most self-help advice gets it wrong. They tell you to push through the fear. They tell you to just be confident. That's like telling someone with a broken leg to just walk normally. The instinct isn't a choice. It's a reflex. You don't choose to feel that jolt when you see a spider. You feel it. The question is what you do next. Here's the framework. 3 moves. They are simple. They are not easy, but they work. Move 1. Name the instinct. The next time you feel that unexplained resistance, the urge to put off a phone call, the hesitation before hitting send on an important email, the sudden desire to check your phone for the 100th time, stop. Don't act on it. Don't suppress it. Just name it. Say it out loud if you can. That's my survival instinct. Say it again. That's my brain scanning for a threat that doesn't exist. Naming it pulls the instinct out of the shadows. It moves the feeling from your body into your frontal cortex. It changes the frame from I am afraid to I am experiencing a fear signal. That small shift, that one sentence, disrupts the loop. Neuroscientist Joseph Ledoux demonstrated this decades ago. The amygdala reacts to perceived threats in about 120 milliseconds. That's faster than thought. The conscious awareness of fear comes later, routed through the prefrontal cortex. If you can interrupt that downstream process by verbalizing the signal, you can blunt its force. You can't kill the fire, but you can stop pouring gasoline on it. Move 2. Run the specificity test. The survival instinct thrives on vagueness. A rustle in the bush is scary because you don't know what's making it. A job interview is scary because you don't know exactly how it'll go. A difficult conversation is scary because you don't know what the other person will say. Vague threats are infinite. Specific threats are manageable. So when you feel that grip of hesitation, ask yourself one question. What exactly am I afraid will happen? Name it. Write it down if you have to. Don't say I'm afraid of messing up. Say I'm afraid I'll say something awkward and they'll think I'm dumb. Don't say I'm afraid of failing. Say I'm afraid I'll spend 3 months on this and get rejected. Once you have the specific outcome, test it. How likely is it? Really? On a scale of 1 to 10? What's the actual worst-case scenario? Can you survive that worst-case scenario? Can you recover from it? Has anyone else in history survived that exact outcome? The answer is almost always yes. And once you've run the specificity test, you've downgraded the threat. You've moved it from an abstraction to a problem. Problems have solutions. Vague dread does not. Move 3. The 5-second action threshold. This comes directly from the literature on behavioral activation. When the survival instinct fires, it creates a window of about 5 seconds before the pause becomes a habit. If you hesitate for more than 5 seconds, your brain interprets that hesitation as confirmation that the threat is real. It reinforces the loop. It makes the next hesitation easier. So you flip it. The moment you feel the instinct fire, the hesitation, the stall, the urge to wait, you move. It doesn't have to be a big move. Open the document. Hit the dial button. Say the first word. Just one small action that breaks the freeze. That action sends a completely different signal to your brain. It says, I've assessed the situation and I'm choosing engagement over avoidance. The amygdala cannot sustain a threat response if you're actively moving toward the stimulus. Physical motion changes your neurochemistry. It shifts you from the parasympathetic freeze state into a more mobilized state. It reclassifies the threat as a challenge. And here's the key. You don't have to feel ready. You don't have to feel confident. You just have to take that one tiny step. The confidence comes after the action, not before. Action generates information. Information reduces uncertainty. Uncertainty was the whole problem in the first place. Now, let's talk about the environment you've built around yourself. Because that survival instinct doesn't just fire randomly. It fires in response to cues. And your environment is full of cues you don't even notice. Every time you glance at your phone and see a notification, that's a cue. It triggers a small spike of stress. It makes you wonder who wants something from you. Every time you open your email, that's a cue. It primes your brain to look for demands, critiques, and deadlines. Every time you scroll a feed, that's a cue. It floods you with novel information, which your brain treats as a potential threat until proven otherwise. You've wired your daily life like a haunted house for your own nervous system, and then you wonder why you feel on edge. So here's the uncomfortable fix. Design your environment to reduce the cognitive load on that ancient brain of yours. Turn off notifications that don't require an immediate response. Batch your email checking to twice a day. Keep your workspace as predictable and clean as your ancestors kept their camp. Predictability is safety to your nervous system. Novelty is danger. That's not being soft. That's being strategic. You're not running from the instinct. You're giving it fewer false triggers. You're saving its alarms for when you actually need them, which is almost never in the modern world. Let's be honest with you about something. This survival instinct will never fully dissipate. It's not supposed to. It's part of who you are. It's the reason you're sitting here right now, breathing, reading this, alive to worry about your future. It's a gift. It's just a gift that over-delivers. The goal isn't to kill it. The goal is to stop letting it drive. You've been treating that internal warning system like an all-knowing guide. You've been letting it make your decisions. You've been letting it talk you out of opportunities, relationships, risks that could have changed everything. And it's been lying to you, not maliciously, but consistently. Most of the things you avoided because you felt off about them were not dangerous. They were just new. Most of the opportunities you passed on because you weren't ready were not beyond your capability. They just required a different level of uncertainty tolerance than you had cultivated. And that cultivation is within your control. You can train yourself to sit in that moment of activation, the racing heart, the sweating palms, the urge to flee, and not flee. You can train yourself to say, I see you, instinct. I appreciate the heads up. I'm going anyway. That's not bravado. That's not toxic positivity. That's just neuroplasticity. You rewire the response by repeatedly overriding it. Each time you choose action over avoidance, you strengthen the prefrontal cortex's ability to modulate the amygdala. You weaken the grip of that ancient circuit. You upgrade the software. And that's the real move here. You're not fighting your own brain. You're updating it. So the next time you feel that familiar squeeze in your chest, that inexplicable moment of hesitation before a call, a conversation, a first step, you'll know what it is. You'll recognize the ghost of a predator that hasn't existed for millennia. You'll name it. You'll test it. You'll take one small action through it. And you'll realize something you never noticed before. That instinct was never trying to protect you from the world. It was trying to protect you from the unknown. And the unknown is where everything worth having actually lives. You survived that instinct for 200,000 years. Now it's time to survive it differently. You're not broken. You're just running old software. And now you know the update.